So welcome to your $1 million network. Notice how it's not my $1 million network, it's yours. It's totally your $1 million network because you have one whether you realize it or not. So how many of you have $1 million right now? Thank you! There's some rich people. I love it. See the 9-year-old? She has $1 million. And that's where it starts. Because you all have access to millions and billions. It's just a matter of how we access it. And in this planet filled with people, it's not things that matter. I spent the first 18 years of my life being a very efficient doer and manager of information and data. I was a great data entry person, managing information. Unfortunately, this is what happened. I kept getting passed over for promotions, and my compatriots who didn't have even half the skill I did, get it, women? They were getting paid more, and they were getting there faster. And I was going, wait a minute, there's something strange here. What is it? And I realized they had excellent people skills. And I thought, oh, how unfair. It's not unfair. It's because they had a skill of engendering confidence and trust and rapport, which people with information, it's cold. There's no relationship there. So how can you build a relationship with just numbers and figures and stats and data? You can't. But you can with a real human. And that's when I realized, oh, that's why for the first 18 years of my life, I was doing that. And God showed me this epiphany that the reason why we're on this planet is to engage with other people. He didn't create numbers. He created people so that we could help each other. So the reason why we're here today, I have two amazing people who've helped me come this way. Actually, lots of people. My husband, my team, but two in particular for this particular event. And if you stand up, Katherine Levin, this is my editor, the lady who helped me for the last 13 months put this book together, my accountability partner, and she's just there to make sure that I stayed on track. But 7 years later, I still have this book in my brain. She helped me write it over the last 13 months. Thank you, Katherine. So, yeah. Now, if you have a book in you, hey, she's local. You don't have to go to California. I spent 5 years looking for an editor, and a lot of them are in the United States and California. I wanted someone local, homegrown, who kind of understood Canadians. And the second amazing person is my publicist, Tanis Sullivan, if you wouldn't mind standing up, with Pure PR Marketing. Yeah, she's amazing because a lot of you got the publicity about this event, and such as my Breakfast TV spot yesterday morning, due to her. So if you're looking for a publicist for your events, hey, I'm just plugging the people that I love working with. You should see Tanis. You're welcome. At the break, okay? Not now. You can network with them later. So this is all part of networking. I'm going to tell you this special story, remind me, about how I ran across Katherine several times and why she ended up as my choice to be an editor. That's a really special story. So first of all, how many of you in the room know me personally or by reputation? Great. And how many of you do not know who July is? You were dragged here by a friend. Well, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you guys because you're trusting your friend for an amazing event. And yes, I'm much better than hockey. So let me share with you something. So for those of you who are new, the reason why I'm here today is that back in 2001, I was broke, $40,000 in debt, having lost my husband, my job, and my house in the space of 6 months, and being forced to move back in my home with my parents. I have wonderful parents. I thank them because they never said, I told you so. They never did that. They were just there to support me. And I decided, guess what? They were retired, and they have this weight on their shoulders. You know that weight on their shoulders, fixed income, and going in debt every single month? So I decided at that moment to commit to becoming financially free to help my parents, my mom and my dad. Because I didn't know how to help them. I was totally helpless, and they were pretty hopeless. They didn't know how they were going to survive the next 10 years, let alone the next 20. And that's scary when you're facing retirement and having to work. So I set out on a mission to do whatever I could, which was this. Yes, I did all the university stuff, all the education stuff, and all that information, that school knowledge did not give me what I need to become financially free because they don't teach you that in school, right? They teach you facts, figures, data, and numbers, which are really good for employees and keep you in that 9 to 5 slot. So I did everything 180 degrees opposite, which was a really scary thing to do. And part of that was, how do you network effectively and efficiently? No one really teaches you that stuff. I've read a lot of books. How many of you read a lot of books about networking? Lots of books. But you see, they don't tell you how to do it. I'm going, wow. And I'm going, okay, I got to find a way to make this work, because my profession today, having quit the city of Vancouver, I'm now a full-time real estate investor. And having gone from $40,000 of credit card debt back in 2001 to owning and managing over a $30 million real estate portfolio today, 8 years later, this all through no traditional advertising, nothing, all through my word-of-mouth network. Wouldn't you like to build something like that for yourself? And it's possible. It's just amazing. Word-of-mouth referrals, marketing, promotion is the most powerful form of advertising there is. And I know I've put money into newspapers and magazines and all that kind of stuff. And guess what? See that? It's a big zero. People don't come because there's no relationship unless you can entice them with some false promises. And so that's why I realized, wow, you're going to find out later this evening how 25,000 equals 2,500. I'm going to put that out there. So this is my secret weapon. I'm going to share it with you tonight. I have a 4-step home run system that I've developed over the last 7 years. And it's how to take leverage to the ultimate level through your social network. Now, what does that mean? Well, how to create an effective relationship marketing system. The word system, not something that you do here and there, it's a system like McDonald's. So you can take any business from 0 to 6 figures in the first year. And I did that. It was amazingly easy to do. Now, the key is this. This is the ultimate leverage that I'm talking about. These 3 things. It's other people's money, often called OPM, other people's time, and other people's resources. You know your boss. For those of you who are employed, they are using leverage. Your boss isn't doing their job. They're leveraging your time and your talents in that position. And they're multiplying your efforts and making a profit. Hey, that's okay. Wouldn't you like to do that for yourself and not be dependent on an employer? Because you know what? I worked for 18 years and there was no financial security for me. I was kind of shocked and disappointed when my boss fired me. Actually, it was he fired and I quit at the same time, because then I wouldn't have fired on my resume that I've quit. And it's like, wow, all this dedication and 12 hours and 16 hours a day for 4 years for what? It's like, wow, it was all an illusion. The only one that's responsible for your financial future is me. So I thought about this, and this is in my book. I'm going to just do a brief overview of how networks work. Are you interested? Okay, do you know that you are connected to every single person on this planet? How many people believe it? How many people are a little skeptical? Well, that's great. Because I'm going, how could that be possible? Because I'm Miss Skeptic. Okay. I don't know if you can see this smiley face. That's you. Little you in this whole universe. Let's say on this planet, okay? And this was me back in 2001, and I knew about 20 people. I was a hermit. Why? My forte was information, data, and numbers. I didn't have relationships with people because people scared me. Can you believe that? I was scared of people. And I would do everything possible not to interact with them. That's why I became a bean counter. There's so much more safe, really safe numbers, right? The spreadsheet, all the numbers line up in a row, they never misbehave. People, on the other hand, are a little unpredictable. And once in a while, I'm going, oh, a room like this would be too much. I could maybe handle one or two. But all of you, this all takes time and an intention. And so coming out of that environment, one of my biggest challenges was, how do I meet people? So what happens is, the average person knows approximately 200 people that you know by name. Now, I'm going, average person? I can't even put 200 people's names down on my list. 20. So I was a little, challenged, people challenged. So if you were to take out a piece of paper right now, I would ask you to list out 200 of all the people that you know with email addresses. Could you do that? How many of you would be in the 20 range, like me? Oh, wow! Am I the only one that was a misogynist? Okay. Wow. And so, yeah, I was a real hermit. And so I worked my way up for about, I think, a year to get the number of people in my database to 200, the magic number. It's a magic number. Okay, that's your immediate circle of influence, which I call COI for short. Okay, does everyone follow that? These are the people you know right now in your world. Your dentist, your doctor, your teacher, the bus driver, the latte person who makes the coffee. Anyone else? Any suggestions? Oh yeah, family counts. You can use family. This is not network marketing. And then what happens is, your friends that you have, they have friends. Yes, they do. And guess what? The friends of your friends know approximately 200 people per person, don't they? This is average. Like right now, I know approximately 4,000 people, but I've been working really hard over the last 7 years to accrue those numbers. So what happens is, this is called your first degree of separation, the friends of your friends. 200 times 200 is, number crunchers? Thank you! See, people in the audience, take care. Listen to the people who said it out loud. They're the number crunchers. If you're in real estate investing, you want them on your team. Really. I listen and look for people, things like that, because they have a compulsion, and the number just rolled right out. They love numbers. So just look at that. With just 200 people that you know, in just the first degree of separation, you have access to 40,000 of their friends. Okay, well, I don't know them, July. They're strangers. I don't trust them. Legitimate questions, which were totally rhetoric because I asked them. The reason is why you have a relationship with those people is these 200 people, they're in your data, they're in your network because they have a certain core value. They resonate with who you are and your philosophy. So naturally, if someone in my network refers someone, there's a natural tendency for me to trust their opinion. It's not some stranger from nowhere where I have absolutely no reference. I'm going, well, gee, if Katherine sent that person to me and made a personal introduction, guess what? Katherine's going to hear from me if it doesn't work out. She's not going to put herself on the line like that. She only wants good quality contacts and good rapport. That's why the people in your network reflect who you are. Got that? They reflect who you are, not what they are. So if there's compromise in your life or incongruencies, they'll reflect it. And believe me, later on down the road, it'll show up somewhere, a red flag. That's why I surround myself with people of impeccable integrity because there's no room for incongruencies in my life. So when referrals come my way, guess what? It's already pre-screened. They've done the filtering for me. It's so easy and effortless. Is that exciting? Thank you. I like the wow. Michael just did a wow. Because, I didn't get this for a few years. And I was doing newsletters for a few years before I finally realized what happened. Now, guess what? The friends of your friends, they have friends. Approximately, how many? Yeah, approximately 200. So 40,000 times 200 is. Who said that? Did you hear who said that? Oh, I see. They're reading the answers on the screen. You guys. I usually do this without the screen. And so there you have it. The friends of your friends, second degree of separation. You now have access to 8 million people. Now, personally, that kind of scares me because I could never meet 8 million people in a day. Maybe really personally, it's impossible, right? Humans are built in tribes, 250 people maximum. And so that's why 150 to 200 is a really good range. Beyond that, you have to start using the concept of leverage to connect with people. So it's okay. I don't need to know 8 million. They just need to know me. Got it? These people in your database, your network of networks, you don't have to know them. You just have to be connected to them so they get to know you sometime. I know you're absolutely enthralled with this stuff. It's stunning when you see this, right? And here is the third degree of separation. This is the friends of your friends of friends. So 8 million times 200 is, yeah, 1.6 billion people. A lot of zeros too. I'm going, oh my gosh, that's like all over 1/4 the people on the planet. Third degree of separation. That's why when you go to the fourth degree of separation, it's really silly because 320 billion people. Haha, it's not up there. But 1.6 billion times 200 is 320 billion. So, okay, all you need is 3 degrees of separation. Now, we've tested this concept in my business coaching program 3 times. Every year, my coach likes to do this 3 degrees separation test. So he'll take like 50 or 60 of us, put us in groups of 10, and we all have a competition. And this is the competition. You'll have about 7 things on here. Number 1, you have to get to these people 3 degrees of separation or less. Richard Branson, Donald Trump, Oprah Winfrey, Nelson Mandela, Prince Charles. The list goes on, okay? Do you know that every single time we've done this, and it's documented because I've been there, 2 degrees is the maximum. From you to first to 2, that's it. Someone has direct cell phone number. I know the guy who has Nelson Mandela's personal cell phone. I know someone who is a direct link, a cousin to Prince Charles. First degree of separation. And it's like the list goes on. You can meet anybody. You just have to know the people who are connected to them. And that gets really exciting. So this is why your reputation is everything, because it will precede you. Your reputation goes out in front, and they already know who you are. I know. People call me and email me every day. You can talk to Sheila, my assistant, and they already know who I am, which is amazing because I don't know who they are. They just read about my life, they hear about who I am and what I've done, and they want to give me money. And I don't know who they are, and I can't take their money. Wouldn't you like to have that problem? Yeah. So it's like I'm in a different category. I only deal with accredited investors. And so therefore, I like to educate people first. I'm not out to get money. I just want to educate you so you can make the best financial decisions for you, not someone else's hidden agenda, which is what this world is full of. That's why I'm one of the few female trainers in North America. Okay, ready to go on? Did this really make an impact for you? This took several years for me to get. Let me tell you a story about a mortgage broker. Any mortgage brokers in here? Or great, thank you. This is Holly. I met her in Vancouver here, but she actually lives in Alberta. And she is a university graduate, about 21 years old. She just got her mortgage broker license. And when I met her, we were doing a training together, and we were networking. And she said, I can't find anybody that I can loan money to. I'm broke. I just graduated from high school. I just got my license. And all my friends are university students. They're not interested in buying houses right now. And so she was at a loss, had no idea how to find money, how to find clients. She was just beside herself. So being the mentor that I am, I said, well, do you have a continuity program? She's going, you should do that. What? What's that? It's a program, a system to get people into your network so they get to know who you are. And so I'm going to share with you after the break the actual how to write your newsletter. This is what this is all about. And having mentored her through a few issues, we didn't hear from her for about 7 months, I think. 8 months, 7 months. And then one day she calls the office, and she used to call like every week for help. And then Steve answered the phone. Steve, my husband, at the back. And he's talking to her, and finally in the conversation, he goes, so, Holly, how's business? Oh, it's doing fantastic. I just had my best month. And so he's going, so where's all this business coming from? You know, a few months ago you were like crying the blues. You had no business. Oh, over 75%. 75% of my business comes from my newsletter. And get this, it's not from my friends. They're broke. They're students. They have no money. She sends it to them anyway, but because they're her friends, she's hip, she's funky, she has a really irreverent newsletter. It's the friends sent the newsletters to their friends, their parents, everyone. I know someone who's buying a house. I know someone who's selling. I know someone who's buying or thinking of. This 40,000 circle right here, they got her newsletter. And then going, oh, cool, you're a friend of so-and-so. I'll call her up. All of a sudden, what happens a year later? Her database is so strong. She's so successful. She sells her business. She's now a full-time real estate investor for a few $1 million. So how would you like that going on for you? I was quite frankly shocked. I had no idea at the time when I was mentoring students that it was so powerful. And that was a business application, and she was just being who she was authentically, sharing her favorite restaurants and sharing her favorite hair salons. And in the meantime, by the way, this is the Mortgage Rich for now, and giving some information and helping people on their mortgages. If you happen to be interested in what the mortgage is, I'll help you. And so that was what sold her business. It's like I go to call her and she's not there. It's some corporation. Well, what happened? Oh, I sold my business. Well, I would like to know this stuff so I can put you in my book. So there you go. That's this. And that's her story. Did that happen overnight? No. Networking is a long-term strategy. It's not to get money from people overnight for a sale. That's the short-term outlook. It's to establish these long-term, lifelong relationships, because people, when they really love you, they love you. And they're going to stay with you forever. And they'll be just advertising. They're so much worth more than gold. Take them out give them free things in your newsletter when you can. I'll share with you how to do that. So in my book, there's a picture. There's your network. So instead of my little smiley face, you have an actual face. Okay, that's how it works. So you can now explain to your friends how the 3 degrees of separation works. And it's very powerful. So this is the 4-step home run system. And I used baseball because it's easy to remember things in a game. How many of you like playing games? How many of you do not like playing games? Some of you. Okay, we could reframe that into a logical game. And the point of this is, how many of you do not know how to play baseball? Okay, thank you. We should bring a baseball bat next time. So baseball is a game. Really, there's immigrants who come from other countries who have no idea what baseball is. So this analogy wouldn't help. So there's a person with the ball, and they throw it at you. And so the ball's coming. There's some long stick called the bat. You stand at a plate and you swing at the ball that's coming. The purpose is to hit the ball so it goes far. And then you do this. See, there's home plate. Here you are standing with the bat. You run to first base, run to second base, run to third base, and hopefully you run home to score a point. I highly recommend you watch the Blue Jays play. See how it's a psychological game. Now, what's great is networking is the same principles of baseball. The strategy behind it is not just something you do when you show up at an event. Think about what you're doing before you go. Most people don't. You know why I know this? I didn't. For years, I didn't. I was Miss Clueless. So here you are. I'm going to use this event right now as an example. You've just come out this evening. You're taking an evening out of your life to learn something of value. If you're going to spend the time coming out here, I would expect that you want to take something back. So right now, answer this question. What is my intention for coming here tonight? What do I intend to take away? Ask these 2 questions every time you go out to an event. What is your intention for coming out tonight? If the answer is money, that's the wrong answer. Really. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Money is just a side effect. And what was the other one? What is your intention? And what is... Okay. After 8 years of doing this, people whose only sole intention is for money never make it. They all fail. When they do it for a higher purpose beyond themselves, for others, they succeed. Strange, isn't it? But it's true. I want you to warn you about that. So you're here right now. This is home plate. A lot of people, this is what I did. I would come to an event. I'd sit at the back, unnoticed, because I didn't want to be noticed. So I could slip out if the event wasn't exactly what I liked. And I had no involvement. Just an observer, which is what people with numbers is good at. We like to observe the numbers and how they flow. We don't like to be involved or participate. We have to change that mentality. So at home plate, what happens is this. I come to an event, spend 3, 4, 5 hours. I go home with nothing to show. I meet people, we have conversations, and it's like after about half a year of this, 6 months of this, I saw the same people in the seminars I was going to, and I knew them by first name only. I never got their cards. I didn't know their last names. I'd say, hey, how are you doing? Fiona. I'd have to search for her name or his name. So I'm going, this is no wonder no one wants to trust me with their money. I have that kind of a hit and miss strategy. Okay, would you want to trust your money, your well-earned money, with someone who is hit and miss? Well, you see, I'm exhibiting all these symptoms, and that's the message they're getting. So I go out to every event with now I don't give up my cards intentionally. I collect cards. But in the beginning, when you're starting, have your business card ready to exchange. The main thing is this. When you're a follow-upper, I can tell you this, 98% of the people I meet do not follow up. So this is what happens. I go to an event. Hey, Daryl, nice to meet you. I'll email you. I will call. Nothing. How many of you have encountered that yourself in your networking? Yeah? How do you feel? Do you feel anything? Oh, just status quo, what everyone else is doing. Now, what happens is, when you meet me and I get your card, you receive an answer that night. And whether it's 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or 4 a.m., I'm there returning your email. I'm following up with you. That's me, but at least do it in the first 24 hours. There's a reason for that. And I ask you to write down 3 things that your partner shared with you about themselves that was not related to their business card. Were you able to do that? No? Okay, the ones who didn't, you need to listen better, because listening is an art. And I can tell you this, in my database, when PL phones, I'm going, okay, hi PL, how are you doing? Who's PL? Oh, how's the wife? How's the kids? How's Micah doing? Isn't she 4 years old now? How did you remember, July? Well, yeah, I didn't remember. My notes remembered for me. So you go home, you take your business card, and you enter it in the database, Excel spreadsheet, Outlook, whatever you have, and enter some notes. Hey, Michael says he's going skiing with the kids this weekend in Whistler. So, when people say things to you, it's important. I don't care how trivial it sounds, it's important to them. They mention their dog, the type of breed, the dog's name, their kids. Why would they say that to you, a total stranger? You kind of wonder why. It's important to them. And they're sharing because they have a sense of rapport with you. And the deeper they share, the greater the connection. These people will become your evangelists. I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is home plate. I don't want you coming to home plate and not even getting up to bat. The majority of people I see go to networking events and do nothing. And they deserve nothing. I'm sorry, they do. They're broke because they don't even do anything. And you can bring them my way and I'll straighten them out for you. So, here's home base. Your home plate networking event. You batter up. Participate. Meet. Greet. Meet one new person. Make an intention. Take a swing. Engage in dialogue. They're not going to rip your head off. They're here to meet people too. Screen the people that you meet. Not everyone is going to be the ideal person. That's okay. If you think out of the thousands of people I meet, I take everyone's card. I'm selective. I will pick and choose the people I meet. So you have a strike. Okay, well that didn't quite hit. Let's move on. That's okay. Just learn to move on fast. Don't stay in a conversation for 20 minutes with a person you have no interest in talking to. Just say, excuse me, pleasure meeting you. I have some more people to meet. Now or you get a hit. Hey, I'm resonating with Michael. I like this guy. Too bad he's married. I'm gonna make sure I follow up with him. Okay? Yeah, Steve's in the room. I was doing that earlier today. So this takes you to first base. First base! You got their card! They gave it to you. You enter them in the database, and what do? The moment you get home? Follow up. And how is following up? Put them in the database, enter them, send them an email greeting. Now, the first email you send out will be the most important, because first impressions make a huge deal. First impressions make a lot of difference. Then after that, you make a lasting impression by following up. That's in my book. Thanks, Katherine. So you follow up immediately, and they will go, wow, I've never had anyone follow up so fast. And the thing is, you're fresh in their mind. They remember you. And in your email, make sure you put your photograph in there so they get a visual of you every time. It's not being egotistical. It's helping them remember you, because people are visual. We see things. You get to first base. You exchange business cards. You have initial contact. You follow up immediately. Immediately is as fast as you can, depending on where you are. I have a immediate rule. So after an event, guess what? I don't go to bed until you're in. And sometimes it's 24 hours. Because the longer you wait, guess what? It doesn't happen. Why meet someone if you have no intention of gaining value from that relationship? And you will stand out from the crowds from this one action, this one little thing. Good to great is just one thing that you've done better than any normal person. That's all. So then you get to second base. You've actually followed up. They've received your email, and they may perhaps reply or not. It's okay. They got your reply. You followed up. And so at this point, they're going, well, I'm not sure if I'm interested in this person, but we'll see. We'll check them out. See if they're just after me for my money. Because that's what happens. We're so jaded today. People are after your money, aren't they? In a hard way. And the thing is, do we want to be sold? Pressured into a sale? I hope you don't, because I sure don't. I like to believe that I'm choosing. And so engage them and help them. So this is the one thing that I listen to when I'm in a conversation with someone. I'm listening for a way that I can give them a helpful tip or hint. So Michael's saying, yeah, I've been having some problems getting season tickets this year. Or I've been having some problems getting snow on the mountain. Well, okay, you kind of file that away, make a reference. And then maybe somewhere along the way, you're going, hey, I know where there's snow for really cheap. And say, hey, Michael, you can over to Mount Washington. They got snow for this price. Or if you have connections and you've gone out of your way to help someone solve a problem in their life. You are now a solution person. You're not creating more problems in their life. We have enough. We want people who are actually there. And they'll go, well, what's in it for you? Which is natural, skeptics. It's like, no, I just want to make sure that you have a good life. These people I'm connecting you to, go have business. Because the thing is this, it comes around. I may help Michael now, and I may not get any financial gain. Hey, this is not what life's about. It's about I've given him some value. He's going, I really appreciate it. Then maybe in his network, first degree, second degree, someone's in there, and Michael says, hey, by the way, you need to connect with July. You need to connect with Ronald. You need to connect with Lisa. And then bam, you have that one key connection just because you've actually done a favor for someone with nothing in return. That's how it works. So there you are. You have interests, common interests. Now, this is where most people fail. I'm telling you, you're in this category. Or else you would be multimillionaires today. You have to follow up and follow up and follow up. And there are two types of people with this particular type of strategy. There's something called a convincer strategy and something called a motivation strategy. Now, a convincer strategy is this. When I go and want to buy something, I will not buy it the first time I read about it, the first time I see it. Some of you will. You're called impulse buyers. But when I see something that I want, I deliberately kind of scale back, do my investigation, and then I'll go back. Then I'll go back. And you know what drives me nuts? I know this about myself. On the 5th time back, I will buy it. Why couldn't I just buy it the first time and get all this thing over with? I just wasted my time 4 times that I didn't need to waste. I already knew the answer the first time. That's just a convincer strategy. That's all. Every single one of you in this room has it. I know you don't know about it. You do. It could be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, 32 times. Whatever. That's why TV's relentless. They keep repeating the same ads over and over because they know they have to find that perfect convincer number for you. And then boom, you're at McDonald's. Yeah, I bet you've been to McDonald's. Motivation strategy. There's 2 types of motivation that people are attracted to. On the one hand, you have pain, avoidance, fear, everything that they don't want. So one of my strategies for real estate investing is how not to go bankrupt to attract and get people's attention, because they're focused on, oh my God, if I get into real estate investing, I'm going to like lose all my money. That's the away from, the fear motivation. And then you have the people on this side, they like the carrot, right? You motivate them with the incentive, the reward, the praise, all the money they're going to work. You see that on TV all the time. So that's what you need to actually start to implement. What is it that people are afraid of? What kind of problems do they have? And what kind of solutions do you have? Solutions in the form of education, not selling. There's a difference. Let people make their own decisions. Which takes you to third base. And this can take time or not, depends on your business model. At this point in time, third base is the sale. You've actually made some kind of business transaction, value has exchanged. Got it? Now you have a client in your database, and guess what most people do at this stage? I know that I did this for years. Poof, you're gone. On to the next person. And it's like, wow, I wonder why I didn't get this earlier. Probably because I was in my 20s and I had lots of energy. Because this is what's happening. You're running around, running around, running around, running around, running around. And you're feeling busy. You're doing business. Yeah, business is great. Hey, you're doing all the work. And get this, you haven't even made it to home base. You're not on the scoreboard. It's like, because no one teaches you how to do this. Is this kind of making sense for people? Okay, great. I'm not out to lunch. I know I'm not out to lunch. Just want to make sure you're not out to lunch. So there you go. You have a client now. You have some value exchanging services. And most people stop here and start all over again and again and again and again. And it's no wonder that by the time they're 40, 50, 60 years old, they're tired. They're worn out. They have no savings. Is there a better way to do this? Yes, there is. You get other people to do it for you. So this is the reason why I wrote the book. Because in my profession of teaching people how to buy real estate with other people's money, you really need to have the home run system going for you. You really need to understand how do you go about creating evangelists. Now, you see, this section right here takes time. You're not going to find $1 million in 6 months, although it's happened. That's very unusual. You can find it in a few years through time and repetition. We are into such instant gratification in this day and age. You have to stay in the game, but play the game the right way with your rules. And there's something called repetition. I write a lot of real estate related newsletters, and I've been writing these for years. And people will phone me, email me out of the blue who've been reading these articles for years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and I have no idea who they are. And Sheila freaks out once in a while going, who are these people? They're talking like they know who you are. And the reason is I've been repeating the same message over and over and over and over. Thank you for your patience. New sound system. And they get the message because I preach a certain type of message, which is cash flow. Don't go for equity. That's gambling, speculating. I know it looks great out there, but hold your horses and do some research first. And don't let other people convince you in a plan that suits them and not you. Things like that. And eventually, they start to realize, oh, she says the same boring message over and over and over for years and years and years. She must be doing something right because she's really, really rich. So this is the clue. In order to create an evangelist is someone who preaches how wonderful you are. They will go out of their way to talk about you to their friends. They share about you. And a lot of you, the ones who are dragged here by someone else, There's an evangelist, a July lover. Thank you so much for loving me. I love you too. And that's why they go out and they spread the word. So much more effective than putting money in an advertisement to strangers. And they are your most powerful marketing and promotion. And this is where the money is, by the way. The money is here. And you don't even have to look for it because it comes by itself. So this is what happens. You saw the baseball diamond with first, second, third base and home plate. Well, guess what? Every single client, whether they're at home base, first, second, or third base, they can all be evangelists. Not just the people you sold your business or made a sales transaction to. I found that people I've never done business with promote me. I don't even know who they are, but they promote me. People that I've met once in 4 years promote me at my seminars. People I've transacted business with, they're my best promoters, by the way, because they've had that personal, interactive relationship with me, and they know what I'm about and who I am, and that's what creates evangelists. So there you go. You have all 4 bases batting for you. That's how powerful it is. I always thought it was just the clients, but then I'm going, who are these people? Why are they doing this? But they really believe in the message, your message, and there's a way to get them on your team. So there is because I'm going to let some of you go for a break for 10 minutes, and I'll be signing books afterwards, okay? Coming up after the break, I'm going to teach you about the awesome power of leverage. That numbers people in the room, you're going to be very happy with these numbers because you're going to see how you don't have to know lots and lots of people in your database. That just the little bit of people that you have, it's a really special story, which is in my book. And I'll give you 10 minutes to go, either buy books or refresh yourselves. We'll be back here in 10. Fantastic. So this is how you build a newsletter. It's a casual, informal chat with a friend. Put in a certain format is very highly powerful and effective. And I have a whole bunch of testimonials in my book from people, some of my students who encounter some amazing results just by doing it. Yes, there's a little bit of fear factor, I suppose. Otherwise, why did it take Katherine over 13 months to write her first newsletter? And Steve had to push me into writing my first newsletter. I was petrified. But you know, once you're doing it, you're committed. 8.5 by 11. Don't go legal size. 8.5. 1 page. How many pages? 1. You know what happens once you go into 2 pages? People delete you. I don't care how good your newsletter is. They see 2 pages, delete. They're too busy. If you really need to write 2 pages, put links and send them over somewhere else. You just don't want to delete people. And they won't say they're deleting you because they're too nice. That's Canadians for you. Really. Oh yeah. You don't want that response from people. It's really sad. Okay. So what happens is, okay, that's the basic shell of your newsletter. In App 11, you have a smiling, engaging photograph of you. I recommend getting it done by a professional, a headshot photographer, a model photographer, or an actor photographer, because they have a certain way of shooting you to capture who you are. In the business I was in as an actor, my photograph is my business card, and so it's worth the money to have a good photograph. And you can have this for years, amortize the cost of the photograph for years. And that's a photograph I have from a very good photographer, Jordan Dunka, and has a certain sassiness. And that's my personality coming through. He spent 45 minutes interviewing me to find out who's July, what's she about, and basically in about 72 pictures, there was this one that was great. Or have a friend who's really good at taking pictures of you and just JPEG it. Just get A really nice photograph with teeth. Please. Teeth are very important. Not like that, Michael. Yeah, a lot of teeth. Okay, there you go. Smiling. Because the moment you have a smile on your face, guess what it does? It makes the people looking at your face smile right back. And they get a dopamine hit. You're basically the equivalent of a heroin shot. And you want people to have really good feeling when they see you. Oh, there's July again. I got to see her again. Ah! There's my July hit for the day, and off they go into their drab world. And it's true. You're going to learn how to make this a 5-minute coffee break at their computer station. So when they're in the middle of something and they want to break, they will actually read my newsletter versus anyone else's, because it's formatted in a specific way at a specific reading speed. Oh, it's in my book, by the way. So here you are. It can be here, but your picture should be at the top of your newsletter, not in the middle, not at the bottom. Why? It's the first thing they see. Now, one of my mentees, she's a realtor, and she had her photograph at the bottom of her newsletter. And I'm going, it killed me every time I saw this, because I'm going, who is sending this to me? I'd have to go all the way, scroll all the way down, and her. And I'm going, move it. And she finally, a couple years later, did move it, but not quite up yet, because there's a confidence issue there with being attached to with what she's doing, right? So that's why you're up there to the world saying who you are with the big thank you. Yeah, maybe with or without teeth. It'll get people smiling. Now, my format is unique because I have lots of things to write about. But the average person, all you need to do to get started is the 330-300 formula. That's all you need. Just get started. 3 stories per newsletter. Hey, you have 3 interesting things per month that you can talk about. Thank you. Yes, you're amazing people. There's tons of stuff. You have to actually cull it down to 3 key points. All it takes is 30 minutes to write the stories. It's not about agonizing over it. Hey, when you're sitting down for coffee or over the phone with a friend, are you agonizing over what to say to them on the phone? No, you're not. So if you're agonizing, tape a conversation you're having. It shouldn't be an agonizing thing. It's very easy and flowing. And maximum 300 words, which means per story, maximum. Your newsletter should never have more than 900 words in it total. Okay? I'll tell you why. Well, no, I won't. You read about it in my book. And then you'll tell me why. It's cool. But there's a formula. 300, 300, 300, maximum. No more. Because then you go over the 5-minute limit. And that's how you do it. Now, what do I write? This is the next thing. So when you read my newsletter, for those of you who are subscribed, you'll see that this top section here is my personal editorial. This is how people get to know what's on my mind personally. And it's mainly I write a lot of I sentences in here because it's my personal experience. Then you want to write a lesson plan. Every single one of you is an expert in something. And one person said, well, I don't know anything. Oh, you're an expert, believe me. After a few minutes of a conversation, guess what? She was an expert quilter. It's like, teach people how to write quilts, where they originated from, how you do different patterns and stitches. Well, no one's going to be interested in that. I'm going to go onto Google and see just how many people actually really love quilting. You'd be absolutely amazed. So something as mundane as quilting, to crocheting, to art, to music, to real estate investing, teaching people about the 7 profit centers in real estate, teaching people how to leverage their money and buying real estate with other people's money, not your own. Like, that's fun stuff for me, easy stuff for me. In the beginning, it's like, how do you do that stuff? Well, that's the lesson plan. You can teach people little bits and pieces, 300 words max per issue, and then they have to keep reading each issue to find out more about what your expertise is, what you're sharing. And then number 3 is current events. Okay, some people say, well, can't I just write 12 newsletters and then just send them out in an autoresponder? Sure, you can do it. How many of you get those? I delete them when they come in my inbox because I know they're autoresponders. There's no relevance to me in an autoresponder. Where's the relationship in that? So when something in the media happens, guess what? You have an opinion about it. Why not share your thoughts? So one of the things I do in current events is things like the economy going downhill. How many of you have lost, you don't have to answer this, just imagine all the people who've lost billions of dollars in the market. Americans, like people all over the world, their savings are literally wiped out. That's scary stuff. People losing jobs. And I get a lot of people coming to me saying, well, isn't this a scary time? Shouldn't you be retracting and, take it easy? I'm going, no, this is the best time to buy. I just bought my most expensive building right now, in the middle of this crash. Why? Well, price is right. It's the buying time right now. So everyone's all selling because they're in fear and panic mode. I can tell them a different mentality. Why is July not panicked? Why is she actually excited? And I share why I am excited. Because in 2 years, I haven't been able to buy anything. It's been highly overpriced. And now, everything's on sale. I love it. So it's like buying shoes, women, 40% off, you just buy an apartment building. It's called leverage. And so I do lots of things. And what's great is putting pictures into your newsletter. So you can anchor a certain concept with a picture. And then they may not remember the story per se, but they will remember a picture with it. And that's great stuff. That's in my book too. Okay. There are the population as a whole, 100% of us, we're broken down into how we receive information and how we teach information. I used to be one horse. So only 40% of the people really liked me in the room. And the other 60% were not so happy because I presented from a specific point of view. And if you weren't in that specific point of view, you were ostracized. Well, that wasn't good for me. I had to figure out how to change and become a better communicator. So this is how it works. 40% of you in this room right now are visuals. You love to see what I'm talking about. I know because I'm a visual person. So when Steve starts talking to me about buildings, numbers, stats, forecasts, I'm going, stop! I got to see what you're saying. Anyone say that? I have to see what you're saying. Well, I'm saying it. No, I have to see what you're saying. I don't get it. And the moment, and he's talking, I understand his English. I'm just not getting it. So once he starts doing this, well, why didn't you say that in the first place? Because he needs to say it in my language, my visual language. Now, 40% of you in this audience are kinesthetics. Now, not very many of you are kinesthetic actually because they're the ones who are constantly moving. Do you know people like that? They're playing around, playing. They're like highly ADD, hyper HDD, whatever. Steve's like that. He can't sit still. That's why he's standing at the back of the room. He's a high K. He has to feel everything. Well, can't you feel it? No, I got to see it. And so, you see, this type of languaging, you need to understand that people need to have concrete ideas that they can grasp. And then they can see, get clear about it. But then there's 20% of you in this audience. What I've just said really doesn't fly for you at all. It's all mud. Because it has to ring a bell. It has to resonate with you, and you have to sing with this. There's no melody in it at all. Where's the numbers? Well, once all the numbers are in harmony, then everything starts to come together in one big orchestra. and everything all works together. So that's how people get their information. So what you have to do is, I'll go back. When you're writing your 300 words here, here, and here, use at least one V, A, and K. Let's do a V in here. Let's do a K in there. Let's do a auditory. That's all. So appeal to the people who can see things, so they get the picture. Appeal to the people who want to hear, and it rings a bell with them. And appeal to the people that they can feel, get excited about it. Help them relive this stuff. And then they get really excited about your newsletter over above anyone else's. It's not about quoting facts. Because there's just so much. You just never know if you're standing or sitting right beside a multimillionaire. Because we have a way of not dressing up sometimes. Okay. So I was in California at this huge training event, learning how to market my business and be an excellent marketer. And so what happened is, oops, there's a break. I met a man named Alex Mandossian. And for those of you who've never heard of Alex Mandossian, never heard of him, he's an internet marketing traffic converter specialist. So what he does is he's really good at, you know how people say, oh yeah, search engine optimization, get traffic to your website? So you get 50,000 hits a day on your website and not one sale. That's not good. So there's something wrong with your site if you get lots of traffic and no one's buying. So what Alex does is he knows how to convert these traffic hits to get maximum number of sales on your website. Now he was at this whole day. He was there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That was a long 8-hour session with Alex, teaching everyone, about 1,000 people in the room, how to use internet marketing to enhance your business. Now, this is the cool thing. At the time that I was there, I had built up my database, which took about 2 years, to 2,500 people. You know, I was so excited. 2,500, the magic number. I was working my way up, and I encountered Alex, who said, oh yeah, I have 25,000 people in my database. I'm going, oh, I'll just have 10 times more people to meet to get to that level. So I'm going, okay, I come home, and I'm talking to my web guy, who happens to be a Corey Woodell protege, and he's doing my stats on my website, and he's going, yeah, Alex Mandossian, I've got to find a way to meet more people. He has 25,000 people, and in the space of 8 hours from 9 a.m., he put out an email to his database for some special promotion. We checked it on it at 5 p.m. as we were closing the session, and we could see he had approximately 2,500 sales just underneath it, out of his entire database of 25,000. And we're going, wow, that's quite impressive. That kind of hits, people responding. I'm going, okay, how do I get my numbers up like that? He's looking at me going, July, you already have it. I'm going, what are you talking about? It's like, no, you don't get it. The people in your database are a warm market. They know you. You have a 91% open ratio. Well, what's that? Well, he says within 48 hours, when I send your newsletter out, 91% of the people in your database actually open your newsletter. I said, you can track that? He said, yes. And then I'm going, only 91%? What are the other 9% doing? And he's looking at me going, are you insane, July? That's like, he says, you don't get it. People just don't have that kind of response. 10% is really exceptional. The average is 3% in internet marketing, 1 to 3%. I'm going, wow, why so low? Because it's a cold market. They don't know who you are. So Alex Mandossian has approximately a 10% response ratio when he sends his marketing stuff out, because the majority of those 25,000 people don't know him. It's a cold, lukewarm market. They're kind of interested. They might not be engaged. So those people, the ones that bought, they've probably already been to a course of his, and they were looking for something, because they responded within 8 hours. I'm going, wow. He's going, July, because he's getting greedy now. You could sell them anything you want, and they'll buy from you, because they're waiting for you at the end of every month. I'm going, that's cool. How can I help them? No, you want to sell to them, July. No, I want to help them. So this is where the quandary comes. You're going to come along on a time in your timeline when people are going to start to come to you to sell their product, to advertise their stuff. And the thing is this. The newsletter that you create, you're branding you. It's not about making sales or promoting other people's products. You can share how it's helped you or what benefits you derive if someone inspires you. So be careful about that. They'll come offering money, goods to tempt you. So that's amazing. So just imagine just building your database up to just 2,000 or 1,000. You have this huge leverage out there of people who are just waiting. And Katherine was just sharing this wonderful story. My editor, she's been doing my book for the last 13 months. You'd think that she would have had a newsletter by now. Well, she finally got her first newsletter out. Just, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. I was so impressed because what happened is 2 minutes after she sent the blast out, she got a response back. How about that? Business response. And so it's like, hey, they're just sitting there waiting because in your database right now, out of the 100% that are in your network, I just want you to know this so you're not feeling like you're unusual. 5% of the people that you know right now are ready and willing to buy from you right now. That's it. Only 5%. 90% of the people in your database are waiting for you to prove yourself to them. And I don't want you wasting your time with these 5%. They will never buy from you ever. That's just the way it is. But you see, they can refer you. They may not buy from you ever, but they'll refer you out. And thank you, Jeff, for sharing. He gave up 2 Canucks hockey tickets to be here tonight. That's how important. Thank you, Jeff. Well, that's impressive. I've never known a man to give up hockey for networking. It's because he has a vision. He has a supreme goal. So this is how you are going to get started. And I go into detail in my book about all the things you shouldn't do that'll kill your network just as fast as whatever. There are certain things that you'll do that will actually repel people from you. How do I know this? I've done it. I'm going, whoa, I won't do that again. That's why I know not to do certain things. It's like, whoa, okay, I don't sell. Okay, so it's as simple as this. How do you stay in constant contact with people that you meet? Month after month after month after month. Eventually, it comes to a point in time where you can't make phone calls every day. You can't write letters every day. You can't do postcards every day. Well, email. Thank goodness for email. But there's a certain way to handle email so it is permission-based and people are expecting it with anticipation and excitement, not dread. I know some of you are right now dreading certain emails coming into your inbox, and that was because it was not done the right way. Nope, not all visual. Like my newsletter, it has pictures in it, but in the way I write my sentences, I have certain verbs. I have the verbs. There's 2 types of K. There's visceral and tactile. Visceral are things like I'm afraid, I'm excited, I feel anxious, I feel hopeful. Visceral, got that? Those are the feeling words. And then there's tactile K, which is, yeah, I felt the rough stone, and I could, feel the smooth texture, and those the K's can actually feel it. And so when you say these words, say them. Don't infer them. Just say, yeah, I've been feeling a little anxious last few months. Haven't you? Well, guess this. I'm really excited about the future because I can see a clear path. And I just want you to share this, and I hope you can hear me. Right there in that little sentence, you got everyone's attention. Actually, I got all of your attention just now. I just saw you all perk up. Isn't that interesting? That's interesting to me because I can see you all. So, tip number 1 is before I go on, Lorna, one of my former students, she's amazing. She's a very mature real estate student. She's not just someone starting out. She's already had a very successful career and a great reputation. And what happened is she procrastinated writing a newsletter for 8 months because she had her own money. So, it's easier to spend your own money, isn't it? Well, after that point, she ran out of her own money and couldn't buy any more any more real estate. And so she's going, how do I buy more? How do I find other people's money? Get your newsletter written. And so, yes, having to pull teeth and procrastinating, she finally did it. So she wrote her first issue, I think in January, then her second issue in February, third issue went out in March. Miss Perfectionist had to be all so nicely HTML'd. Well, you see, what was really strange is nothing happened in the first 3 months because it was working its way through her circle of influence, her newsletters. Because what happens is all of a sudden you start writing a newsletter and people going, that's strange. She's never done that. He's never done that before. What's this about? So they think the first 2 issues are like a lark. They don't know that you're really serious. They're kind of going, what's this all about? They're kind of confused. So by the 3rd issue, they're going, wow, look at all the things she's sharing. She's a real estate investor now, and she's been sharing how she's learning how to leverage. She's sharing how the 7 profit centers work and why real estate's so great. Next thing you know, the people in her database here start talking to other people. Now, in month 3, after she sent out her 3rd newsletter, she got a phone call from 3 people that she had never met. 1, 2, 3. These people phoned her because they had read her newsletter, and she had $1 million of investor money to go out and buy something with. Because I got the phone call, which I saved. What do I do? Go out there and buy real estate. It's like, you think you're going to get it, but when it came, she was absolutely overwhelmed and wasn't quite sure what to make of it. But that's how effective. It wasn't her immediate circle of influence that came. It was actually the first degree that responded. And I think after that, it even spilled over into the second degree but that's because it's the power of her network. She had it, wasn't even tapping into the potential. And she's a very, very successful real estate investor today. So what does she do? She's consistent. You want to respond within 24 hours of meeting someone. So after tonight, you have a deadline. I have a deadline. It's usually 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. when I get you in here, and you'll send an email. You'll get an email from me if I exchange cards with you, but within 24 hours. And then every single month thereafter, I encourage you to subscribe to my permission-based newsletter, and you get my newsletters every single month. Every single month. Issue number 65 is coming out in a few days. Yeah. And you know what that does for people? In their unconscious, they see your newsletters coming out every single month on a specific day. First day, last day, mid-month, first Thursday, second Thursday, whatever. You've picked something and you stick to it. And over time, 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, 2 years, they're going, wow, if July is that consistent with her newsletters, never missing a beat, although one day I was 3 hours behind, computer crash. They think if she's that way with her newsletters, wow, just imagine what kind of real estate investor she is. Got it? There's a translation. How you do anything is how you do a lot of things in life. So you want someone who's consistent with your money, don't you? Tip number 2, give value first. This is not about getting something, getting a client, getting a sale. For goodness sake, it's about creating that long-term relationship and giving value. Because once they're in your database, they share your core values. They share your philosophies. Hey, brothers and sisters, hey, we're aligning. And you start creating this circle of influence here, which is exponential when you really start to tap into it. So you're sharing and giving people helpful hints, giving away your information for free because it comes back. It may not come back from the person you gave it to, but in the giving, it comes back. I'm experiencing that this year. It's just absolutely amazing. Absolutely no selling. Why do I say this? I tried it. I did it. It was disastrous. And so I just thought, oh, I have a database, so buy anything from me. No. They started abandoning ship. You know, when the ship starts to sink, everything leaves. And I was the only one kind of oblivious until I started seeing all the unsubscribes. So there was, okay, I can't push things down people's throat because they don't want to be sold. They want to be educated. Okay? So the newsletter I've learned is not a sales pitch. It's all about educating and empowering the people you meet to help them enhance their lives. That's truly very powerful. Oh, this is actually tip number 1, 2, 3, and 4, by the way. Follow up. Now, it's an easy word to overlook. Very challenging for people to actually do. Because you'll see tonight whether the person that gave you your card actually follows up. Because first impressions make a huge impression. They say it's everything. It's not. First impression just makes a first impression. It's the lasting impression every single month, month after month, month after month. That's what really solidifies it for people to go out on the limb and say, you know what? They're the people. They're the experts. I bank my money on them. When that happens, you've made it. Really, you have. Because people trust you. I have in here, this room, several of my real estate students. I'm wondering if any one of you would like to share how the newsletter has been for you. It's a great place to promote yourself. Hello. Don't just all rush at once. So, do we have a microphone? Thank you. Rejoice?
I just sent my first one out in December, and I've got and then I went away. Just came back last week. I've got like 5 emails. Where's the newsletter? Where's your next issue? When is it coming up? So it works.
So they're already demanding why she missed her cue. They know it came out at a certain time, and they have an expectation. Would you like to share, Chris? You have nothing to say? Okay. That's great.
The reason why I didn't say anything at first actually is because I haven't done my newsletter yet, and that's why I'm here. And everything she says is right. It's easy to do the work, and there's a lot of work to do in the real estate side, but to create the network is where the power is, and that's the step you got to go, right? So that's why I'm here tonight.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, Joe.
I have a newsletter too, and if anybody would like it, please contact me at the end of this, and I'll gladly send it to you guys.
He's really original. He's one of the only people I know that has an audio link to the favorite songs, because he loves music.
I love music very much.
Very.
Anyways, I sent out a newsletter to a friend of mine, and he is a counselor, and one of his students would like to have my newsletter because he wants to learn how to get out of the rat race and become a millionaire. So it really works. You can really help a lot of people.
You just inspired some people that you don't even know. Oh, Margaret. Yes, at the back there. Excellent.
July had to hound me to get my newsletter out, and she coached me through it and everything else, and it's definitely paid off because I've had one lady called me. She wanted me to come over and do demonstration on this product that I was using, and she says, my mother sells this, but because you have given so much time and education on it, I want you to be able to do this for me. So that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And you get July's newsletter every month, and that's my newsletter. So.
Yes, he's a K. He's not a writer, So he gets to edit my newsletters to make sure I have the proper feelings in it. So you see, use the people with their strengths around you to help you where you're weak. Because you see, I write very much like university, which is third person, objective, very non-emotional. You just state facts. But guess what? That makes for the world's boring newsletter. And really, I write the world's worst newsletters until Steve fixes it up. And I'm getting better at it. And there was something else I forgot to say, but it's okay because I'm going to have a book signing tonight. Yes? Oh, yes, Steve. Katherine would like to share.
Actually,
Yes, thanks.
this isn't about the newsletter. Yeah, I want the stage. It's my time. No. As you've all known, if you've even seen July for more than 2 minutes, you know that she's like a bundle of energy and going 6 million miles at every one direction. But in spite of all of the traveling you were doing, and in spite of all of the mentoring of others and writing those newsletters and getting out there and scouting all the different countries and properties for sale, July was still on the internet, sending me emails, getting me content. I'd be going, July, I need this section, I need more data. And then she'd diligently, okay, well, I'm going to be away for a week, so I'll get back. So I was just so impressed with their stick-to-itness and such, and I just wanted to say a little bit of a congratulations for...
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Congratulations on a job well done. And there's a little bit of bubbly for you to enjoy.
This is my favorite champagne, by the way. Dom Perignon. Wow. Oh, this is awesome. Well, what a treat.
So when was the first time you tried Dom Perignon?
He wants to take credit for that. And since he's holding the microphone, yes, he gets his way. So I have a new website, yourmilliondollarnetworkbook.com, where the information is about the book. Unfortunately, Your Million Dollar Network is taken by someone else, so I put the word book on the end, and that's where the book is. Now, this is what I'm doing. It's available right now for $20, includes GST. But you can actually go to Amazon.com. It's available there. My website, onthebeacheducation.com, and yourmilliondollarnetworkbook.com. So what I'm doing the weekend of February 6th, 7th, and 8th is I'm going for a big Amazon push with everyone in my database coast to coast in North America to get me to number one. And how many book sales do I need in a day to be number one? $200 books makes you number one? Oh my goodness gracious. So it all depends on timing and the day and traffic. So I'm going, if that's all it takes to be number one, I want to be number one. Just get a couple thousand book sales. It doesn't take 50,000 like most people think. February 6th, 7th, and 8th. Well, basically this weekend, next weekend. It's after my January newsletter. I'm going to tell people in my newsletter, okay, people, go and buy. Tell all your friends, go buy a book on Amazon, February 6th, 7th, and 8th. And they're going to get all these hits. And they go, wow, who's this July Ono? We got to buy more books. Right? That's what it's all about. And it's great because in about 4 months, I'll be on a national radio in the United States that goes coast to coast, selling my book there as well, eWomen Network Radio. Okay, so this is something I just came up with, because this is what happens. I teach people about this stuff, and then they do absolutely nothing. So to incentivize people to get the newsletter doing, I'm thinking of putting together a 4-session newsletter teleclass. We get together for 4 45-minute calls with a Q&A afterwards, so an hour, and it's for 4 weeks. So week 1, you have tasks to do, because by the time you come back to week 2, we fix that up, and by the end of the 4th session, you will have your first newsletter out and ready to go to your network. Whether you like it or not, it goes out. That's because it starts now. There's no procrastinating. Networking doesn't start later. It starts now. It's just so important that you get it. It's now. Too many people wait too late, and they say this, well, I'll get my first real estate property first, then I'll start my newsletter. No. Why? People are going, who are you? You're some city employee. And all of a sudden you're a real estate investor? They're going, well, something's strange here. What you want to do is talk to them at their level so you have a mutual base of understanding, because they're exactly where you are now. Broke, hopeless, confused. They don't know where to go, what to do, or where to turn to, and you're taking the effort. You're coming here tonight to learn something. And so you can share these things going, wow, look at Liza. She's coming out to these events. I got to give it to her. She's a go-getter. And people are sitting at home just on their computers playing it safe. You're out in the real world. You're not playing it safe. You can share. So there you go. If you're interested, you can sign up. I haven't set the dates yet. It'll be sometime next month. Oh, and I have a free seminar for those of you who like free seminars, because I survived on free seminars for many years. And you're interested in real estate investing, this is a free evening coming up on February 26th. It's my power evening. And in that evening, 3 hours, you'll get a overview of what real estate's about, because it's not for everybody. This may not be for you. If you've been thinking about it and kind of toying with the idea, I can get the pain over with pretty quickly in 3 hours. You will know pretty much whether it's for you or not. And then you can stop agonizing about it and either do it or trust someone who's already doing it. That's what that's about. So that's why I say if you've been contemplating investing in real estate, this will give you an overview of what is required to be a successful and sustainable real estate investor. Because too many real estate investors I know make it and lose it all. That's not very sustainable in my opinion. You want to be around for the long term. So I will be here to sign your books. And this is great. I'm an author. That's cool. Thank you very much. And yes, Veronica, could you? Yes, Steve, could you?
Thank you. I probably don't need this, but my question is, how do you get permission to send your newsletter to your database?
This is how I do it. Would you like me to demo it for you? Great. Chris, come up here. Hey, Chris. Nice to meet you. It's excellent coming out and meeting you. You know, I feel that we really have some value here, and I want to give you some tips for your wife and your children. If you don't mind?
Sure.
Great, because we shared about his wife and kids. And so, oh, by the way, I have a newsletter. Do you mind if I send that over as well?
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, great. And we can stay in touch.
Yeah, here's my email.
Great. That's it. It's as easy as it is. I ask, would you mind if I send you my newsletter?
No
Thanks.
problem.
Excellent. You're going to get it tonight, actually, in about 2 hours.
I'll be looking for it. I'll be waiting.
Yes.
On average, how long do you spend on a newsletter? For the first newsletter, and then it
First
probably gets
newsletter,
easier.
you should take at least 8 hours. You know why? It's your first newsletter, and you'll need some coaching. I know that Margaret, how long did it take you to get your first newsletter done?
About 2 weeks.
Okay, that was because she was procrastinating. But the actual time to write, I know that it varies with people. That's why Selena, my protege, she just hated writing. So she got a timer, and she said, okay, 30 minutes. Because she would agonize, it was taking way too long. And so once she found that she timed herself, things started happening really fast. And so don't agonize, because what happens when you agonize, you don't write. It's better to write something simple and simple. Don't make it complicated. And then my first news was really simple, and I got more juicy and meaty as I got along. So I would say 2 to 4 hours, no more for your first one. And it's because you're introducing why you're doing it. You're introducing to people your mission and purpose. So I want to stay connected. My relationship with you is valuable, and this is my way of keeping you up to date with what's happening in my life sharing you some of the valuable information that I learned. I hope that you receive value yourself. That's what you're sharing in the first newsletter. And then you kind of put in current events and your who you are, a little synopsis, but not a big one because you want them going to your website or blog for that stuff. You don't want to clutter it with personal information like that. They can read about it on your blog. That's why all my stories there. If people are curious about me, they go there for the whole read. Do you have a blog, David? Not yet. Go to blogspot.com because if you go to blogger.com, Microsoft owns all the contents and they have copyright on your information. If you go to blogspot.com, it's yours. And if you have your own website, please have a section in there because on my website I have my blog there, my contact info. So any sundry stuff that shouldn't be in a newsletter. Right? Anything else? Great. Any questions? Yes. Yes, Tanessa? You have a question for me? Would you like to start a newsletter?
Yes.
She already has with her mom. She has started a newsletter. It was cute. Any questions? Oh, yes, Amelia. Oh, great. She's asking husband and wife newsletters. So this is what happens. Very few newsletters are husband and wife because it becomes schizophrenic at times. You're wondering who's writing. It kind of really it does. So there's only one newsletter that's a husband and wife newsletter that's very good because they're very succinct. You know exactly the man who's writing because his picture's there, and then and her. So they have a his and her section, and they're sharing. Unfortunately, it's 2 pages long, which is why I don't read it anymore. And if you do that, make sure you have a single voice. So someone is the key writer, or sometimes when Steve's writing, I put his picture in the little paragraph so you know that Steve's the one talking and that everything else is me. Because people have to know who is the author. If it's blended, they can't have a relationship with the blended person. They need that one. So whoever's dominant in your relationship, yes, Emilia, then you're the one that's going to be the face. So decide who the face of your newsletter is going to be. Okay? Or you can do a team. A lot of people have their couple pictures, and then one of the spouses will be writing. Be consistent with what you do. That's the main thing. But that's only what I've experienced. You could very well probably write an amazing newsletter, husband-wife team. And then I can use you as an example. Because I'm always looking for testimonials of what's worked, what kind of results people get. And it's amazing. Holly and Lorna's results were astounding in the short time frame that it occurred. Because I struggled for years to get that kind of response. That's because I did the wrong things. I did all the wrong things. So those things not to do are in the book for a reason. Don't do them. You'll ruin your reputation so fast. And then it takes a little while to rebuild your reputation back up after you do that. This was originally written for my real estate students. Because when I'm teaching how to buy real estate with other people's money and none of your own, the thing I've noticed by and far in my travels across Canada is that everyone who can't find other people's money has no network. They didn't even know how to go about it. Like as simple as taking a business card, writing notes on the back, putting it in Outlook in the notes field, and then sending emails out. That's all. It's really that simple. I'm going, do I have to tell people this stuff? I was telling this to Katherine, and she's going, yes, July, they really need to know the step-by-step, because I wasn't mentioning it in my previous issue, the first draft. Like, how do you do it? Well, it seems easy and simple for me. You see, easy and simple for me is not easy and simple for other people. And then, so this was meant for the real estate investors. But what's amazing is it works for any business, not just for real estate investors. Because then realtors got a hold of my ideas, and mortgage brokers, and counselors, all sorts of other people who weren't in the real estate investing business started doing this, and they started getting results. Spas, dentists, chiropractors. It's like, wow. So it's not just a real estate investing tool. It's a life tool for you guys. Oh, I'll give you a really great example of a gentleman we met in Harry Rosen several years ago. Steve was looking for a tuxedo. You know how expensive they are? So I'm talking to this salesman, and he's giving Steve excellent service. And so I just start talking to him about networking and how excellent he is, and that, his attention to detail and his follow-up and everything. And I'm going, and he made a comment about, oh, it's just a job. I'm just a salesman. I'm going, no, it's not. You are Harry Rosen. Without you, they wouldn't have business, because the relationship Steve has with Harry Rosen isn't with the store. It's with you. And he's thinking about that. I'm going, just imagine this. If you started networking with the customers that you had, and they had a personal relationship with you, Wes, next thing you know, if you want to move on to a different store, they don't have a commitment or relationship with the store. They have it with you. Once you move, that entire database moves with you. And he went, I never thought of it that way. You're absolutely right. Well, guess what happens about a year later? We get a postcard in the mail from him, who's now the general manager of the store. It's amazing. He got it. Just like that, in like a 10-minute conversation. He understood the value of leveraging his relationship with the clients, and then they bring in their friends who need a $3,000 tuxedo. And next thing you know, he becomes top salesman. He knows how to do customer service. It's all relationship marketing, people. That's how powerful this stuff is. And he doesn't have a newsletter. He just has postcards. But it works, right? What works for you is that personal connection. Yes, Steve?
Just wondering, July, do you use an opt-in newsletter?
Yes, I do now.
And if you're using an opt-in newsletter, say you have like, say, 2,500 people in your database, not everyone's going to confirm on the opt-in, right? So you'll be, does it annoy you a little bit that, your newsletter goes up to like 100 people, just pulling up numbers over the air, but you have 2,400 people that should be getting a newsletter, but they're not?
That my webmaster takes care of that for me, and they go through and they do stats. So if we're getting bounce backs, this is technical stuff which I don't care about at all. All I know is you get invalid email addresses or things that bounce back or they're spammed out because of something, then Sheila, my assistant, calls them up. Like email. There's a certain point where all of my contacts are in person. This is my best, by far, the biggest influence I have is in person. And after that, phone calls. I love talking to people. That's my downfall, actually. I'll spend hours on the phone with someone I've never met. And it's because there's a relationship that happens, energy starts to flow and exchange, and I get excited for them, and they get excited. And you know what? They will go out of their way to opt in, or give me a new email address, or give Sheila a new email address, and we keep it clean. You don't just start. You monitor things. I started an opt-in after 1,500 emails, because you know what that means? Oh, I use Outlook. I write my email, and I PDF my newsletter. This is back in the PDF days. I still PDF it. And I would send Michael, I've just met him. Hi, Michael, great meeting you. I'll give a little tip. And let's stay connected. Here's my newsletter that I promised you. So I write the newsletter, attach the newsletter, send it. And I would go cut, paste, attach, send, cut, paste, attach, send, cut, paste, attach, send for 10 hours straight on the last day of the month, out to 1,500 people. I did that for 3 months, and I finally gave up. I got to have an HTML newsletter, and I need an opt-in. It's because I didn't want to, when I BCC'd everything together, it would all spam out, and I couldn't verify anyone receiving it. But if I did it one by one, they all got it. That's how anal you got to be about managing your relationships. It's that important.
And you did have attrition when you did go to opt in. So it after you do it, if
When I
you're
switched,
when you switch,
there was attrition.
there was attrition when you do the opt in. A lot of the people didn't opt back in, but once you do, the database continues to grow.
Hmm. So that's okay. It happens. People say, I got your newsletter 4 years ago and then it just stopped. I'm going, well, I'm still sending them out. Can I put you back on the list? Great. And I'll do it for them because they just don't know. But I'm still doing it, and you just got to keep in the game. And don't worry about the numbers. The numbers take care of themselves when you have relationships. Really, it does. And so get your numbers to 100. There's a phenomenon out there called have you heard of it? It's called 100th monkey. And in the wild, they observed monkeys and like scientists in different parts of the world. And there's one set of monkey, this mother comes down to the bank, washes her food before she eats it. And her child starts washing their food and eats it. Before you know it, the whole tribe is coming down to the river, washing their food and eating it. Well, it gets to the point where 100 monkeys in this tribe start to do the same thing. And spontaneously, worldwide, all monkey tribes start going down to the river, washing their food before they ate it. And this was like totally unrelated. How could monkeys communicate? Yeah, go down, wash your food before you eat it. And so there is called, I think it's energetic. A certain mass gets reached, and the energy is a tipping point. And so I did work diligently to get my 100th contact, not for the sake of numbers, really good quality people. And they're not even leads. I was going to say that because I've been trained as a salesperson to use that language. People aren't leads. People are people. So once I had 100 good quality people who really wanted to know me and stay in my database, be connected to me, things just started to magically happen. Because the whole COI really starts to magnify, and then things start coming your way. Just imagine now with thousands in my database. It's so cool. I get to buy really large apartment buildings now. Yeah, and it's taken time.
Who receives your newsletter now?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Well, one of the ironic things is who reads your newsletter is I go into the bank or to the lawyers or to the accountants, every professional person that we're related to receives their newsletter and reads it, and they know more about my life half the time than I do.
That's strange because our professional advisors that we run into in the normal course of business, someone came here today, Jeff, and says, yeah, I heard about you through someone, and first thing he did was went on my website to check me out. And so all my advisors do that. And so when my banker, oh yeah, I read July's newsletters, Steve is going, what? Because he wants some things to be private, I suppose. I don't know what he wants private. Everything is just who we are. And they like that. They have a sense of, oh, I'll give you a reason, comfort. The thing is, it's in my book, I met this property manager in Alberta at a seminar over there. And he was up here doing what I was doing, teaching about property management, how to manage people. At the end, I was so impressed. I went up to him and shook his hand. I said, that was great. I really learned a lot from you, because I took notes. And I said, next time I'm in Alberta, I'd like to take you out for dinner. And, hey, would you like to stay connected? I have a newsletter. So he said, sure. So this is back in the days when I did not have opt-in. So I went back to Vancouver, and I started sending him my newsletters manually. And 6 months later, I was going back for another seminar. I thought, oh, who can I network with over there? The property manager I met. I'll give him a call. And so I said, remember me? And he's going, yeah. He wasn't really positive that he remembered me, just that a girl wants to take him out for dinner. So if a girl calls you up and says, hey, can I take you out for dinner? Are you going to say yes? Yeah, most people do. Well, most guys will. And so we went out from one of his favorite restaurants. We're sitting across from each other, and he's looking at me going, I know we've met somewhere else. I know we have. And so he starts listing off seminars that we've been to. I've been to the same seminars, just not at the same time. And so we just said, finally one day, we'll figure it out. It'll come out. So then he starts talking about his woe behold business. What? Yeah, I gotta work so hard. I'm drumming up. I have to always get out there and work. I'm going, what's going on? You're one of the best property managers in the town. You should have people beating down the doors to get your business. No, got to get out there and, he's got to drum up his own business. And I go, well, where is your continuity program? Don't you have a system in place? He's going, what's that? I said, your newsletter. And he went, bingo. You should have seen how big his eyes go on. He went, oh. I'm sitting right across from him. I'm seeing this physical reaction in his body. He's going, I get your newsletters every single month. And it's the way he did it with his eyes and his voice. He was looking at me like he recognized me from my newsletter picture that popped into his inbox every month. And he thought we had a long-term relationship. He really did. He thought we had met years before and kept coming to these seminars. And I went, oh my goodness. This thing is way more powerful than I ever imagined. That's what it does. This stuff works. You just have to get in the game and see it for yourself, experience it for yourself, hear the compliments. See what I just did? Okay, so I'm ready to take more gifts, more Dom. And I have here my publicist, Tanis, if you'd like to speak with her about helping you in your business, get you on TV and radio. And one of my radio hosts from Radio Real Estate just left the room. And Katherine, my editor, she's an amazing editor. She really has a wonderful personal style, which really comes across in my book. She really made sure that it spoke of me. So when people read it, they're going, that's so July. And I wanted it that way, instead of making it too formal, you know what I mean? Newsletter isn't a casual, it's a casual thing. It's not formal. So I'm ready to sign your book. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you receive value tonight. Thank you. Daryl. Gosh, it's good to see you. Yeah.